ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Bald Explorer Live. Yes, live, ladies and gentlemen. Not fast asleep, just a few minutes late, actually, if you're watching live. Just a couple of seconds late whilst I suddenly had this last-minute change of plan. I was going to present myself today in a Tarzan outfit. I thought I'd dress up as Tarzan and have all my rippling muscles out here as I swing through the trees, ladies and gentlemen, as I swing furtively with my six-pack hanging on the side. Yes, a few cans of 4X would have been quite nice. But no, at the last minute I suddenly said, no, I tell you what I'll do. I'll shave all my hair off, I'll get rid of the chest hair, throw that into the bin, and turn up again in a nice suit and a simple shirt and present myself in a more presentable way. And you know, that's what I've done, ladies and gentlemen. That is exactly what I've done. It is the 6th of April. Today is the 6th of April as you watch this as we go live. If you're watching on the repeat, of course, it's another day, another dollar. Who knows when you're watching? You may be watching it some years hence, but I can promise you this, ladies and gentlemen, what you're not doing is watching in the past. You're not looking in from 1997, at least not unless you've invented a time machine. And if you've invented a time machine, why the hell are you looking at this nonsense and not doing something a lot more favourable? And that's what I say. It's been a very interesting and sunny day today. I say interesting, I've had an interesting day. I don't know what you've been doing, of course. You may have had a very boring and terrible day. But it is the weekend as we go live. It is the weekend, which is, oh, thank goodness. Now, of course, that may be for those people who are working shift who only work at the weekend. It's going, yeah, that's all royal for you to say that, mate. But we're not so happy that it's the weekend because we've got to go and work. And other people who go and work all year round and all day round and all week round and all who cares, whatever it is, they're just still having to go to work. Unless, of course, you love your job and then you go, well, do you know, I'd rather be at work than at home. Yeah, the old domestic life, the wifey there with the rolling pin. I'd rather be at work, matey. You never know. You never quite know what other people's lives are like, do you? You think you know what lives are like? Because you never really get underneath the skin. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here. I'm here with another show, another rabbit pulled out of the hat. Goodness knows how he does it. I don't know how I do it sometimes. Anyway, I hope you're all well. I hope you had a lovely time. Let's crack on, shall we? Thank you to Eric and his mammoth-sized, automated, self-propelled banjo over there in the corner. One day I will turn the camera around and we will show him and show what a lovely dude he really is. Anyway, Steve Pilford is there, Cynthia Walder is there, Paul Hind, Mark Selwood, Paul Coachman, hello. But now, hang on a minute. I'm going to just change the tables just slightly here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to turn the tables around because I want to say hello to all the YouTube people this time. We're not live on YouTube, by the way. This is repeated. This is a replay on YouTube, but I purposely, I just feel, you know, I don't want to let anybody down, so I'm not ignoring my live people. I shall come to them in a minute, but I just want to say a special thank you to all those lovely people who commented on the YouTube channel when this gets rebroadcast, particularly to the last people. I've just happened to take the last people who've made comments that I've noticed, and that's Wombly, hello to you, Gordon, 1997, I don't know whether that's the year of your birth or a special year you got married or, you know, the year you discovered the Vobes, who knows what that is. Julio from Mexico, who sort of transgresses from the Facebook group sometimes to the YouTube, depending on what he's doing at work, presumably. David Booth, hello to you. Thank you for tuning in on the YouTube. That's very nice. Mark has gone walking, or Mark's gone walking, to use the abbreviated version. Mark has gone walking, but occasionally he does come back and he does look at the YouTube and he goes, oh, I do like your videos, Richard. They're very nice. Which is very nice. He does a walking channel himself, actually, and he goes off going to some very interesting places. You should check him out. Mark's gone walking. John Harris, hello to you. Mark Webb, who I think also transgresses occasionally from time to time. You know, a cloak here, I'm watching on Facebook, and a cloak there, and now watching on YouTube. And maybe, you can put them side by side and see which one finishes the first. Who knows? Richard B. Roberts, who always has something very interesting to say. I think he's up there either in Herefordshire or Shropshire, but he's always got something interesting to say, especially when I'm doing those reports from up that neck of the woods. Jennifer Stewart, who is another one who sort of 1 minute here flits from side to side, depending on whether she wants to see him live or just the recorded version, because she can pause him and stop him from gabbling. I'm talking about me, of course. Richie Rich. I'm not talking about Richie Rich in the days of Henry VIII and Cardinal Wolsey and Thomas Cromwell. I'm not talking of that Richie Rich that was played by John Hurt. You remember that film in, what was it, Man for All Seasons? I'm not talking. He was in that film. Richie Rich. There was a character in there. No, this is a YouTube Richie Rich, a different Richie Rich. That one, and I hope he is very rich. I could do with being Richie Rich myself occasionally. And then we got Kodji. Now, hang on, I've got to get this right. Oh goodness, was practicing this earlier. Kodji Dubnus. Yeah, it sounds like an old codger, doesn't it, really? Kodji Dubnus, who's always got an interesting and sly little comment to put on YouTube. The Reverend Flatus, or Flatus, I don't know whether it's Flatus or Flatus, but whichever it is, he's probably flat out at the moment, having a good snooze. And the last one to mention is Mark Vince. These were the last that I happened to notice on the YouTube. So, I'm just trying to cover all ground so everybody gets a nice little mention. We'll nip over to the Facebook Live now and see who's there. There's Nikki, of course. There's Mark English, going to see you on Monday, subject to the weather. Let's hope it's nice. Mark Selwood, I've said. Kevin Hall, of course. Jennifer Stewart, there we go. She's, it's very difficult decision, she says. I make daily to watch you on YouTube or fast forward to the lunacy. Oh, to the lunacy. Yeah, you've got the lunacy all right here. There's always a loony in front of the camera on the Bald Explorer Live show. A bit more serious on the walks, I should point out, but a bit lunatic-like on the light. Maybe, some days when the moon is in its full orbit around the Vobes Towers, because the Vobes Towers, as you may not know, is a very, very tall building. It is almost of infinite height. There are 732,000 steps up here onto the very high studio that looks out across the globe, well, certainly across England, and I can pick out where I'm going to walk and where I'm going to send the minion, the carbon copy, the 2D version of me to go meandering around. I go, I look from the battlements there, through the crenellations and go, yes, I shall go there. There is going on. And then I set forth with my little haversack and my camera, and away I go, ladies and gentlemen. And, of course, I'm talking absolute rubbish. Jane Ainsley has arrived, which is lovely. Julia Hartley-Neal, who is supposed to be going rollerblading. What are you doing? You're supposed to be rollerblading. She's, I can't go tonight, she said. I can't. She talks like that when she's not on the camera. You think she's very sweet and all that. I can't go tonight, no rollerblading, no. My feet ache. I've got corns, she says. Corns! Just like that. It's amazing, really. Jason Beeching. Now, no relation, of course, to Dr. Richard Beeching, who had something to do with railways and a big axe. At least, I don't suppose you are. If you are, then, your great-granddad or father or whatever he was, what a difficult man he was at making those decisions to close down the railways. But if he hadn't closed down the railways, what would Dumpman be doing? He's currently, I think he's still there, Dumpman, the guy who goes around making videos about old railways and things, and he's taken me on a few walks. What would I think he's in Kent. Isn't he in Kent at the moment, hunting around some more of the old disused railways and the stations, and probably, I shouldn't say this, but probably trespassing to get onto an old platform that's hidden in some foliage and various things. Frank Carver, we need to sort about Ebeno. Heave ho for Ebeno. I must come along to that. I think I've got it in the diary anyway, Frank, which is rather good. Julia says, I didn't go. Hubby knackered. I didn't want to go alone. I'm going to stay in, she said, just like that. Jason Beeching saying, Dr. B is related to me, Grandad's cousin. Oh, well, there we are. That's the Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi putting his foot in it, right in, up to the middle. In fact, I probably got a JCB and cut the hole so I could be swallowed. Those times when you just want to be swallowed up because you've just insulted one of your viewers. This is how it feels. This, for me, now, exactly how it feels, ladies and gentlemen. And I can tell you, he's looking at the music. Now, which one should we have? This is embarrassing music. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Yes, you see, the spring is here, and I have a spring in my step now, ladies and gentlemen. The sun was shining today. I got out. I'll tell you about that in a moment. And so I felt, maybe I should be getting a little sun hat to protect the old bonts. The bonts from the burning rays. We were at Petworth yesterday with the rays burning down on us and going, oh no, it's too hot here. Out again today, and I thought maybe a hat, but this hat's a little bit knackered, so maybe we won't bother with that one. I have another one here, just getting your opinion on it. This one's a tad large. This one can actually go round and round like that very easily. It is a tad large, but all right, we won't bother with that one either then. But the sun is shining. But the weather forecast for tomorrow down in the southeast, cloud and rain. And I was going to go with the lovely Claire Leach tomorrow. I was going to nip out with the lovely Claire, and we were going to go skipping along the seafront in search of Eric. What's his name? Eric Slater. The woodcut artist who did these amazing things of the Seven Sisters and the Ouse Valley. And Ouse Valley, it was marvellous. We were going to do that, but Claire's got a bit of a cold as well. And she said, I don't want to give you the horrible lurgy. I said, don't worry, love. If you've got a cold, I shall be on the other side of the Seven Sisters. Now, they've all got names, haven't they, the Seven Sisters? You know what I'm talking about. They're the Cliffs. The Cliffs, they've all got special... Did you know the Seven Sisters have names? You've got Peaky, Sneaky, Weaky, Beaky, Perky, and Flurky. Is that seven? I don't know what that is. But that are their names. They may have other names which people have written down in books, but I can assure you they are the proper names. Thank you. Still going, you see. I don't get to hear the music in the studio. Anyway, so she's got a cold, so she's cried wolf, and I said, don't blame, it's going to rain. We'll do it next Saturday. She said, oh, yes, I'll be back. I'll be. What, you'll be able to talk, will you? Oh, yeah, I'll be able to talk next week. So that would be lovely. So thank you, Claire. I'm very much looking forward to that. Is Claire there, by the way? Is she there? Have I just insulted somebody else? Oh, I must say a big thanks to Todd, where have you gone? Desborough. Now, there's apparently there's something interesting about his name. All right. Get your hair on. There is something interesting at Desborough. He said, look it up. Well, I haven't looked it up. Maybe he told me. I can't remember. I have a brain the size of a sieve, ladies and gentlemen. Unlike Marvin, the paranoid android, my brain is like a sieve. Things go in and it just all flops out again, mostly in diarrhea, in verbal diarrhea. Anyway, Todd very kindly made a very nice contribution to the Bald Explorer show. Let me just push that back because that's in the picture, isn't it? He made a very nice contribution, so thank you very much, Todd. That's very kind. And I can tell you, I'm going to the Ritz now on the back of that and having a right old knees. No, of course I'm not. I should be making sure that money is put to good use. I should be nipping round lots of cars with a can, and I should be siphoning off the petrol so that I can go further afield, ladies and gentlemen. Jennifer Stewart says, according to Richard, these lovely women speak in very peculiar fashion. Yes, you see, Jennifer, you are over there in the US of A, and over there, of course, you speak in this lovely American accent. Whereas over here, of course, we all speak like that. Know what I mean, mate? We all speak like that. Well, we may have done, but so you probably don't see it. We have special voice trainers on our television program. So when you see people on the television or on the internet now, they all have to go through this special voice training process. It's called Vobe tune. There are other things, and their voice gets put through this thing. I'm working with the Microsoft company and. Whoever that bloke is, that Mark Zuckerberg, we've got this new gadget, so everybody who appears online, it's a talk like that, mate. I do apologise, but that's the way it is. Dave Baker says, good evening, everybody, which is very nice. Todd says you're very welcome, which is very kind of him. Dan Thompson, he says, you should get an RV and travel the country doing shows. See what you did there? I see exactly what you did there. For those who don't know what an RV is, it's a what is it? Something vehicle, isn't it? Is it roving vehicle? I don't know what it is. It's some kind of camper van. We call them camper vans over here. Yes, says Jennifer Stewart. Very strange. It is very strange. Anyway, I will just make an announcement here that we now in the Bald Explorer group, big fanfare, please. we have 538 members, which is absolutely smashing. I wanted to get up to 500 members by the end of March. And here we are in April with 538. And with any luck, it'll go up. And it's all thanks to you guys spreading the... I nearly said spreading the margarine then. I don't know why that went through. Maybe it's Maybelline. Maybe it's margarine. Oh, yes. Better on your bread, isn't it, than Maybelline? No, it's all thanks to you for spreading the word. And thank you for doing it. But keep spreading the word. We just, nice to build up a few. I need a few more friends. Like I haven't got enough. So that would be marvellous. Thank you very much. Recreational RV. Thank you to Steve Pilford. Who is? I mean, his hands are so fast. The lightest fingers in the world. Straight on to find it out. He is the man of a million facts. Straight out like that. It's amazing how he does it. So thanks, Steve. That's very kind of you. Yeah, so we've got some nice things. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you this. The other day, when doing some stuff with the lovely Julia, when I say doing stuff, I mean just ordinary talking and stuff. I nipped round there, and she was just cooking dinner, and I came round at the most inopportune moment. She said, "Oh, do you fancy a bit of gammon stew?" Gammon stew? I said, "What's gammon stew?" Now I haven't had gammon stew, homemade gammon stew. I haven't. Do you know? I've never had homemade gammon stew. I mean, I've lived for these 29 years, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I've lived fairly roughly 29 years without having any gammon stew. She said, "Oh, I'll have some of this." It was delicious. It was absolutely delicious. So I said to her the other day, I said, "You must tell me the recipe because I'm going to try that at home." And I've tried it this very evening. I didn't film it. I'm sorry to say that, but I did try it this evening, and I must have got the wrong sort of gammon. I did everything that she said. You get some smoked gammon. You get a big pan of water. You shove it in. You boil it up for about an hour and a half. You bung in all your veg at the same time: onions and carrots, carrots. I said carrots. The cuddly toy. No, we've got that. Tea's made. Yeah, didn't he do well? Good game. All right, my love. Let's look at the old floorboard. Whatever it is that you're cooking, you shove it all in the pan, you boil it up. A very easy thing to cook because you can shove it on the stove and then go off and go out and have a game of cricket and come back and it's still bubbling away all very nicely. Now, I rushed over to the nearest supermarket, which I won't mention their name because they don't need the advertising, and if they did, they could pay me to advertise them. But anyway, they had some of this gammon steak, and it was about 3 or 4 quid, I can't remember, for a little chunk like that, about 400 grams. 400 grams. Oh, 400 grams of... Do you remember going into the old sweet shops? I used to love when I was a kid, going into the sweet shop. There'd be this kindly little old grey-haired man, portly sort of chap. Oh, hello, little boy. And it would come into my back room. No, my mum told me never to talk to strangers. Oh, in that case, would you like some sweeties? Yes, I'd love some. And you'd buy them in quarters, wouldn't you? You'd buy a quarter of sherbet lemons. Do you remember those? I used to love that. And then you'd get it, and you'd watch the big needle go across like that. Bing. And then he would just put in a couple of extra ones and it would just go over the quarter. So generous, you just think, oh, look at that. He hasn't noticed. He's not noticed. It's over. I'm getting a couple of extra ones. And, of course, he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew what he was doing because he knew that you would be so excited. You'd come back with your pocket money and come to his shop and spend it. He wasn't daft. Anyway, why did I mention that? Oh, yeah, 400 grams. So anyway, I got this gammon, this smoked gammon, shoved it in, boiled it all up like this. Well, you see, the thing that Julia's one that she cooked, which it was delicious, the meat was sort of just falling off the bone. It was lovely. It was so... This I didn't realise that this gammon that I got from where I got it from, I mean, it was cheap, is reconstituted. So it was bits of gammon all pressed into one thing, and as I boiled it, it was still solid. It was just like solid thing, and in the end I sliced it up, and it was just solid lumps. And so it wasn't very satisfying at all in terms of. I mean, it was nice, the rest of it was nice and all this. But So Julia, you need to tell me exactly what type of gammon again, because I've obviously cocked it up. But anyway. Your one was great. This one was okay, but it could have been so much nicer. So there we go. Gammon steak and quail egg, says Richard Suggett. He says, yes, gammon steak, yes, so you could have, hey, I've got some of the gammon left. I could have quail egg, gammon and chips. Ham, egg and chips. Oh, yes, delish. Steve Frick says, can you 3D print gammon stew, Martin? Going to talk about what Martin Snow's up to a little bit later on in the show, so you're one step ahead of me. Andy Ash says, that's for later, Kev. Okay, talking to yourself. Oh, no, sorry, it didn't work out. Doesn't matter. I have an excuse to try it again. Anyway, so that was that. Now, something else I wanted to talk about in the show, because somebody approached me and said, have you thought, because I feel sorry for you, have you thought about putting some adverts onto your YouTube videos to make a bit of money? You know, you could be a multi-millionaire with your output. You're putting out those videos every single day. You're marvellous at it, you know. You could be making millions you could be making by sticking adverts and monetising. What a horrible word, monetise. It's such a horrible bastardation of a word, that is, monetising. But anyway, you could be monetising your videos, making money out of your videos. You could be, earning a crust. And actually, I didn't have the heart to say. I said, well, do you know, in the first 6 months, I used to monetize my things and shove adverts. You'll see some of the older ones have got adverts. I don't bother with them now. And the reason is, it took 6 months to get £70, ladies and gentlemen. 6 months. And do you know what? The ones that were making the money weren't the walks. They were ones that were about 4 or 5 years old. By the time I make any money out of the YouTube adverts, I'll be like, I would have grown hair again. And actually, when you look at other YouTubers, I've noticed many of them now dismiss the adverts, and they're all saying, please help me, please support me. I've got a wife and 2 eyelids to support. Please help me. Go to my PayPal and donate. They're all at it. We're all begging. We're all begging. Begging, please, please. How will I ever get through a day without making another video unless you give me your PIN number and the long number on your credit card? Send it to me and you'll be very, very poor afterwards. No, so I'm not convinced. I'm not, with the few views that I get on these videos, and it's hardly surprising when you've got an idiot like me burgling around, that anybody wants to watch it anyway. But the point is, I don't really, that for the sake of that 70 quid, I know 70 quid, 70 quid, but it took, 70 quid these days doesn't pay the milk bill. That's the sad reality. And you had to wait 6 milks for it. By the time I get my milk from that 70 quid, it'll be curdled. It'll be cathedral cheese. Which actually, I quite like cathedral cheese. I like the extra mature myself, but there we are. Everybody's to himself. Mark Selwood has just given me his number. It's 152 24... Oh, no. You mustn't broadcast it, sir. It helps when people thumbs up your video. So, yeah, well, I'd rather people thumbs them up. I don't know how that helps, but it must tell the algorithm something. Here, ow, go rhythm. Do. Who knows? Rich, you could write Tesco's in felt tip on your bonds for a bit of subliminal advertising. How subliminal, really, would that be? Every little helps. Yeah. No, it's a good idea, Andy. Obviously, what's a milk bill, says Dan Thompson. Yeah, okay. Dan, you're in America. We used to have a Milko! We used to have the milkman. Do you remember the Norman Wisdom film with the, what was it called? The Early Bird. No, yeah, The Early Bird. That was a good film. Do you like? Some people don't like Norman Wisdom, of course, but I used to love him. Mr. Grimsdale! Mr. Grimsdale! They're breaking all our bottles! You can't do that! You can't do that! Mr. Grimsdale! Sorry, gone off into another... another terrible impression, ladies and gentlemen, and probably just broken everything. Matthew Holdsworth says, but you had 600 views from today's video on Facebook. If you directed all your YouTube... yes, that was the other thing I was going to say, Matthew. That was a very interesting point. I think it was Matthew who suggested this. Instead of loading the videos onto Facebook, he said you should have them on YouTube, so in order to watch them, you have to go into one place. But Matthew, it doesn't work like that. You see, Facebook, it's lovely to do this live show, but Facebook doesn't show everything. And I get more traction and more views by actually uploading to Facebook. More people watch the videos on Facebook than they do on YouTube. And I do appreciate what you're saying. I have experimented with this a few times, but honestly, more people stumble across it. And by having them on both, it means YouTube is more like an archive. People who are subscribed can watch it, but other people will find them down the line, which is great. Facebook is very much an immediate thing. People are on Facebook, pop up comes the video. Yeah, well, I'll watch that. People tend not to look at my videos on Facebook, weeks, months later. They tend not to do that. It is very much a thing. So what I need is a sponsor, one sponsor, or somebody. I need one of these philanthropic people who can throw 50 grand a year to a bald bloke, and then that would work. But anyway, we do our best. That's what we do. So there we go. Now the other thing is, this is kind of like a bit of a roundup and technical show today, because artwork is now in the Bald Explorer group, and you may have seen it. We've been pumping that idea for a while. And the idea is there's some designs there, but I'm not saying they are the end designs. Like there's T-shirts with a massive, great big logo. I don't think that's the right thing to have, a massive logo. I think people would rather have something a bit neater and a bit more subtle, but people can look at, when you're waiting in a bus queue and someone's going, cool, who's got BO in here? Is it you? And then they're looking at you and, your wafty smelly is coming all over the place and they're going, oh, yes, you with the Bald Explorer logo on it. So a nice little logo in a nice little place. I think that would work very, very well. But what I'm just trying to work out is, do people want polo shirts or would they rather have T-shirts? Because I always think T-shirts, they always, they lose their shape. And in the end, really, people only wear those T-shirts with the merchandise of their favourite YouTuber and stuff when they're mowing the lawn or they're under the car cleaning out the sump. Those sort of things. That's when these T-shirts, they have a sorrowful end, I feel. And I'm not sure that I want my bald impression really looking up under the sump of a car with this black oil going. I don't think So to me, a polo shirt, because it's got a collar, it's certain. I'm a white collar worker. Oh yes. It's a cut above the rest. That's how I feel, and I think polo shirts are very nice, and you can wear them, and especially when you're Vobing reporting, so we can have Bald Explorer Vobing reporting ones. And what I figured is the way to do it is I'll come up with a design, use one of these designs, make a picture up, shove it on the website, and then say, okay, let me know if you want one. If you want one, you pre-order it, and you give me your sizes, and I will tell you what the cost will be. I need to go and find a company, so that then I can gather all the money and run off to the south of France. Oh no, I'm not supposed to say that out loud. Sorry, I was reading the brackets on the teleprinter there. Sorry. So I said, no, don't say that you're going to... yeah. So I gather all the money up, and then I can go and order them. So let's suppose, that everybody was to buy... Everybody was to buy one. All the viewers and all the fans and everybody was to... So then I could go to the company and say, look, I've got 5 orders. Could you print them all up? No, obviously no. But let's say there were 20. It would probably bring the cost down if there were 20, and they said, oh yeah, we'll have a medium and a large and a very large and ultra large and an absolute huge. And obviously the ones wearing the large and the ultra large and the absolute huge are the people who don't actually go and do the walking, but they just go and sit and enjoy the show, which is fine. I have no problems with that at all. So I figured that would be a good way of operating, so that then I haven't got to shell out the money, because to be honest with you, I probably haven't got the money, because I don't know how much it's going to cost to have 20 or 30 T-shirts printed. Same with mugs. We could do the same with mugs, any of the merchandise. Now, I noticed somebody said, here, you ought to make a profit out of this, Richard. And to be honest with you, yeah, it would be nice to make a profit, but it's not about making... I'd rather make a large profit by somebody investing in the show, and we really do something really well, than making a tiny, making... By the time we've done it, about a £5. It just sort of seems, what's the point? We may as well just do it at cost price for everyone, divvy it all up, and as long as all the expenses are paid, and more people go, do you know that's value for money? Then I'd rather do it that way, because ultimately, if you only make 20 quid out of it, I know 20 quid's 20 quid, but I'm not quibbling about that. But it's just like, it's kind of what. We may have sold an extra one if it was that extra pound cheaper. That's what I'm thinking. Just, you know, I don't want to fleece anybody. Is what I'm. Not that I would fleece. We could have fleeces. That would be nice for the winter. We could have fleeces, couldn't we? Nice, warm, zipped-up fleece, which would be rather nice. I know Martin will have one if it's in orange. So there we go. Anyway, so that's an idea. I just throwing all this out there, as I do, and some of it sticks. Some of it I remember to do something about. Sometimes people pick up the gauntlet, which is what I love. Pick up the gauntlet and say, do you know what, Richard? You're snowed under with stuff. Don't worry. I'll organise that for you. And as long as it's not costing them anything other than, you know, a little bit of time, then that's fantastic. The more people get involved, it really makes my life a bit easier, because it's trying to make these videos all the time, of course. So, we mentioned Martin Snow just now, didn't we? Let's find out what Martin Snow has been getting up to. He is somebody who likes a few toys, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't know quite what motivated him to do this. We must get him in the show, and we'll do another show with him, perhaps, so you can bring in some of his stuff. But he's posted... Hang on, let's have a look and see if we can get on the picture. No, not here. He's posted a few pictures. Here is one. And it looks like it's stuff made out of marzipan, if you look at it closely. But he's got a little couple of tugboats there. He's got some plates and what looks like little figures and things. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is what's known as 3D printing. It's a sort of plastic-based stuff that is... I don't know how it works. I haven't seen the thing. He's got a video on there. I haven't had a chance to have a look at it. But it's that apparently is 3D printing. And here he's printed up a vase. So it comes out as a plastic type of vase, and he shows you it's the same thing, can be in whichever size you like. He's got a large one and a small one. And I don't know how expensive it is to actually print something up like that or produce something like that. But as long as he's got the 3D image of it, he can then create a 3D thing in real life, which is pretty amazing. I mean, what is amazing is it's only a few years ago that this became a thing, that you'd have to spend, I don't know, £20,000-30,000 on something like that. And he's got one now, desktop one. I don't know how expensive that is, but I mean, it's pretty amazing, isn't it? It's pretty amazing. So he said, you know your Vobing reporters? I said, yes. And you said, you know, you wanted a trophy for them? I said, yes. He said, well, if you can make a 3D design, I can print it out, and then they can have a trophy, and we can give them, you know, somebody who wins the Vobing Reporter of the Month, or the quarter, or whatever it is. I thought, oh, that's a good idea. But we've got to create the 3D image of it first. So I don't know how that's going to work out. So anyway... Mark Selwood says it, yeah, I know, and it says it looks like red Leicester cheese, and it does. Maybe you can eat them. I don't know what happens if you put them in a burger. 24 hours to print a rubbery doorknob, said Mark Selwood. Yeah, you could be down to B&Q, and you could have bought a rubbery doorknob in that time and had it fitted, I suppose. Julio says 3D printing is on my list of things I would like to learn how to do. Presumably... Julio, presumably it's quite simple. You import the 3D object, whatever it is, and you press the button, go. And then at some point later, you open up the oven door, and there it is. I don't think it's that... I mean, Martin Snow is doing it, so it can't be that difficult. You know, be fair. Martin's doing it. Elaine Brazier says, we use those in my architecture practice. Oh, do you? What do you use them for? Are you printing 3D houses? Is that the future, Elaine? Is that what's going to happen, that we're going to have 3D... I mean, I know we've got 3D houses now. I mean, I'm not supposing that we all live in a cartoon world. I'm not saying that. But, I mean, you know, this 3D printed house. So, basically, a man turns up with a van and on an empty plot of land and goes, oh, yeah, let's have a look. It's 30 feet by 60. It wants 3 internal bedrooms, a front room, a back room, a dining room. That's one of the internal. A bedroom, a roof, an attic, a chimney, a thing, and a swimming pool. Right. Bink. And then, you know, by the end of a working day, you print off a house. Bing. Is that the world that we're going to enter into soon, ladies and gentlemen? That's a bit of a frightening and freaky world, I have to say. That is a very, very scary world. If that is true, because that may just be a complete load of old rubbish that I make up. but, you know, who knows? You're watching the Vobes... No, you're not watching the Vobes show. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching... I'll do that again. You're watching The Bald Explorer live. With me, The Bald Explorer. Alive. We wish he wasn't. It is a Friday show, so that's all quite good. Anyway, Martin Snow will be in to talk all about that. We want to wish Claire Leach well. I hope you're well, Claire, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. Elaine says we model the buildings on the computer and print them, and yes, they do. Oh, it's moved. Where did it go? They do print buildings in China. Well, I thought it was plastic, but I mean, if you can do it in ceramics. See what I did then? Do you see what I did? Yeah, no, I know it wasn't very funny. But, do they do that in China? It's amazing. Well, you know. Yeah, but if they do that in... You know what'll happen? We'll have cheap imports and we'll have, you know, your house is built in Taiwan next. That's probably the reality. Great big container ships coming over. With everybody's houses. What would you like? Would you like a Mickey Mouse house? Yes, all right, one with big ears, please. Would you like a Pluto house? Would you like a Goofy? Come on, Pluto! Come on, Pluto! That was my impression of Mickey Mouse. Hey, Pluto! Come on, Pluto! I'm Mickey Mouse! 3D. Oh, do you know what? I wish they would do. I wish, ladies and gentlemen. No, this is a real wish. Everyone talks about the environment. The environment. Got to save the environment. Oh, the environment. Save it. Save the environment. Well, if you want to save the environment, you know what we should do? We should go back 600-700 years. We should go back, grow the old oak trees and use the oak trees to make those houses that we used to do in the Elizabethan times. You know those beautiful black and white houses that you go up to Shropshire and Cheshire to have a look at? And some down here on the South Downs. These old, lovely, beautiful... Because I'll tell you what, they've been around for 600 years and they were, you know, simply made, over-engineered with these great big beams and stuff, but in order to do that they had to grow the trees. That saves the environment. If we grew some more trees and made some of those, fill it in with a bit of wattle and daub, oh blimey, what more do you want? That's the way to, you know, proper real house, none of this modern rubbish. I am a bit of a traditionalist, ladies and gentlemen. You may have noticed I'm into the old ways, much, you know, and I just, it's so much, because people, here is a thing, ladies and gentlemen, this is a real honest thing. You get some of these lovely old Georgian houses, okay? These lovely Georgian houses, these Queen Anne houses, and these Elizabethan houses. You shove them in a town, and people flock. They flock. They get on buses, they get in cars, they get on stinking trains, and they flock, ladies and gentlemen. They flock, and they ogle at these old houses. Go, oh, isn't it sweet, isn't it? And the Americans come over and go, ain't it quaint? Hey, look at that. Hey, Larry, put the ice cream. Isn't it quaint? They take pictures, and the Japanese are there, click, 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 never taking their eyes off the screen. Click, 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 click. And everybody takes pictures of that. But I bet you, these prefabricated houses and these modern bunny hutches that they shove up now, who wants to go and look at that? Nobody wants to go and look at those houses, but they'll go, and this is what architects, you're an architect, or you run an architectural practice, Elaine, and I would love to have the argument with you, is if you don't build beautiful things, people won't go and look at them. If you build ugly, mean houses with mean windows and tiny windowsills and no features and no festoons, and the cornices are all just drab and boring, and no lovely porticos and Doric columns and Corinthian ferns and all. If you don't do any of that, who cares? It's just like, they're just mean and boring and nasty. So I don't want to make a political point or anything. It's just I probably have, but it's just, you know, unless you... people love beauty, and they knew how to... I mean, admittedly, the Tudor buildings, they weren't there trying to make anything beautiful. They were just making actual houses that worked. But they were beautiful, and we look at them, and we just go, look at that. They're amazing. But now, architecture is just so dull and so boring. Yes, you know, I think they get excited. They get very excited by the materials they're using, but not but not the end look. And the other thing is, I'm not looking to see if you're arguing against me, of course. The other thing is. The other thing that makes something very beautiful, you may disagree with me, of course, and you're most welcome to disagree with me, of course. And we've all got our own views, and just because you disagree with me doesn't mean that I'm an idiot. Well, I am an idiot, so I'm a self-confessed idiot. But the other thing is, do you know what really makes places just right, and what is perfect, and what is lovely? And you look at any building, mostly pre the railways, what really worked was they were used the materials in the landscape that the house is in. So there you are, you've got a Queen Anne house, a brick house with this lovely lake, and a lovely roof. They're using the materials from the environment around the trees and the various things, and they've dug out a massive great hole to get the clay. They've used some kilns to fire off the clay. They build that house using the clay and the colours and everything. It just looks right because it's made from the elements in the environment. It's just perfect. Then they fill the dirty great hole with water that they've dug to get the clay to make the bricks, and that becomes the lovely lake, and you've got these beautiful Queen House houses, and it just looks right. But after the railways and when the roads came, people can then transport the wrong stuff, bringing all this plastic and all this nut and steel and all these horrible modern stuff in, and it doesn't look right in the environment. You've got these bunny hutches that go up, and you go, and these prefabs, and you just go, it doesn't look right in the environment. It just looks wrong, and nobody seems to notice, and nobody seems to care. And I'm getting myself all worked up, so I think we better get on to the gallery. So in the gallery, now calm down now. In the gallery, ladies and gentlemen, that's very rare that I get worked up on this show. Normally, I'm very placid, as you know. In the gallery today, the very lovely Simon Brown and his family. Very lovely Simon Brown. These pictures, by the way, are posted in the Bald Explorer group, and you can see more of them, of these. Are just one from a set of. This is Simon Brown in the Peak District, apparently on the Dragon's Back, which does look a very nice place. I'll be interested to know about that, because I want to go to the Peak District and do some walking, which looks very nice. So here we have Matthew Holdsworth in Reigate, and Matthew got in touch with me. He said, "Here, Richard, you've got to come up to Reigate. There's loads of interesting stuff in Reigate." And I said, yes, I'd love to. So, Matthew, I'm looking forward to doing that. We'll go around and investigate Reigate. There's some pictures there. Claire Leach. Now, you may be wondering what the hell you're looking at there. The tide is out, ladies and gentlemen. But if you look straight in the middle of that picture, what you don't realise is you're looking at some sort of foundation stones, I suppose they are. You're looking along the beach, right from Rottingdean, I think it is. I guess back towards Brighton. And you can sort of make out a bit of a line. Well, Magnus Volks had this eccentric Victorian electric railway that ran across in the water on giant legs. They called it the Daddy Long Legs, and it was a sort of like a cable car or a train, if you like, but it was on these tracks, and that's the only remnants of it. So that's fascinating. And there is, I think she's done a bit of a video as well, which is in the group, which is well worth having a look at. Darren Windybank has been out for a walk on Somborne. I can't read my own writing now, somewhere there. I'm sorry, I can't read it now. But he's found some German airmen's graves where they've been shot down, I think, by Spitfires. Anyway, there's a whole interesting collection of those, so do check those out as well. And, of course, Maggie and Robbie are normally out all the time, but they're not out at the moment. And Robbie has a fascinating hobby. Or maybe it's a profession, I don't know. He is a whittler. Yes, he gets a piece of wood and he whittles down some art. And there's some lovely pictures of his art. Here's a simple example. Obviously, it's a picture of me. He's working on me very clearly there. He's got this sort of... I don't know whether this is a green man. obviously this is an orange man, so it's Martin Snow. And it's looking very nice. But he does these interesting things on old logs and things, which is remarkable. So go and check those out in the group, which would be rather fantastic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I went out with the lovely Julia today because Jonathan. Now, I don't know how you pronounce your surname. Is it Bulazik? Jonathan Bulazik. He said yesterday, in the show yesterday, he said, I don't know, Richard. Oh, by the way, I think it's Jonathan, I think, is responsible for the artwork, by the way, the artwork that we were talking about earlier. And thank you very much for doing that. It's absolutely brilliant. Jonathan said, have you been to the Sun Oak? And I made the joke, oh, is it a pub? I made that, naff old joke. He said, no, it's not a pub, you idiot. It's a tree. It's the second oldest oak tree in Britain, and it's in Horsham, or just outside Horsham, near Manning's Heath. And I said, no, not been there. And of course I meant, Julia happened to be here, as you may have noticed in yesterday, and, she said to me after the show, we're going there. I said, no, don't be silly, we're not going. She said, no, we're going there. And I said, oh, all right, well, we'll go there. She said, we're going there tomorrow. What, tomorrow? Well, I'm busy. No, she said. She got a frying pan out, and she said, we're going there tomorrow, or we're not going anywhere. I said, right, okay. So we went. We went today, ladies and gentlemen. We went there. I suppose you'd like to see the video. Of course you would. So here's a little snippet. Just to whet the old appetite. We are here to look for what's been called the second oldest oak tree in the land.
Yeah.
Now, I know you like trees. I understand it's a biggie.
Yeah,
so
I hear so.
Let's see if we can find it.
Bit intimidating.
I think it's just up here. So we're just sort of, I don't really know my bearings, but I think we're heading east on a little track that goes through St Leonards Forest. We're going to have another exploration of the forest on another walk. But here, in front of us, just beyond this little bit of road workings, where they're digging up and laying, presumably gas things or something, is the tree. We're just going to make our way through this tiny little channel through here. I'll let you lead the way, Julia.
Follow me.
I'm following you. It isn't on private land. It is publicly accessible, which is the great thing. And it's called, what's it called? The Sun Oak.
I wonder how it got that name.
I don't know. But now that we're here, it is. It's another great, big, immense tree. And unlike some of the yews that we've been looking at, it's not hollow, is it?
No. I mean, it's got a little bit of decay going on here, but some little hollow patches, but it's not hollow.
Not hollow in the way that, because it's an oak tree, and I think oak trees don't hollow out. I may be wrong. I'm just going to move back so we get a better view of this huge beast. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. Just a little snippet there to whet your appetite. We shot obviously a bit more than that, and we'll be bunging that out. We also did a walk around St Leonards Forest, which is that's sort of on the edge of St Leonards Forest, which is very lovely. And we did a little whilst we were up there. I said, well, if we're going up there, we better do something else. We can't. It's such a lovely day, so we went to St Leonards Forest looking for dragons, ladies and gentlemen. Dragons. Excuse me. Tree identification. More of that, and we realised how rubbish we were. And actually, while we were doing that, we met a tree surgeon, and we said, here, because he had some lovely dogs, and we said, here. And when he told us, he said, oh, yes, I used to be a tree... Because he noticed that Julia had a tree book with her, when I forgot to take mine, didn't I? And he said, oh, yes, I used to be a tree surgeon. And so we said, oh, well, we've identified some. And then he told us how wrong we were, and he told us the names of the things that were really there. And, of course, now I've forgotten what they were. One was a red... something like red cider. Wasn't cider. Cedar? Was it red cedar? It said red something. Red buttons. No, that was Red Buttons. Wasn't he in the that disaster movie? Do you remember that disaster movie where the Poseidon adventure and the ship sunk? And Red Buttons was some famous American something. I don't know what it was ever famous for. I always remember him because of his odd name, Red Buttons. Did he ever bear in Aladdin? Is it Aladdin who had buttons? No, Cinderella. That's the one. Cinderella, ugly fella. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I've been approached by... it's interesting doing this show because occasionally you get some interesting people approaching you. And I was approached the other day by somebody called Libby Darling. Lovely name. All right, Libby Darling. All right, darling. They in where is it? Well, I didn't write it down. Seaford, Rottingdean, somewhere around that neck of the woods. They have a beach cleaning festival. Now, I've never heard of a beach cleaning festival. They're putting on events and things. There's all sorts of things going on May the 6th. Well, as it happens, a few days prior to that, I shall be at Simon Brown. We saw him up there on the Dragon's Back in the Peak District just now. I shall be up at Simon Brown's in Cambridgeshire doing a series of shows, live shows from Cambridgeshire with Simon Brown. And we're going to do some cycling, we're going to do some walks, and we're going to bring a whole load of stuff. That's early May, which is also, that's it. But I'm going to miss this beach thing. So I got in touch with Libby Darling. Here, Libby Darling. I said, here, Libby. Maybe I can come and you can walk me around the beach and tell me a bit more about your beach cleaning club and the walks that you do and the sort of state and the stuff that gets washed up and what it is that you do. So I thought that'd be interesting. Just thought I'd pass that on to you. And the other interesting thing is I've had Amberleigh Museum. Yes, Rebecca Mann. Is it Rebecca Mann? Rebecca Mann from Amberleigh Museum. Now, I assume that's the Amberleigh Museum where they filmed one of the Bond films. And they've got all these old steam trains and not so much trains, but I think they've got one train there. But they've got all this old nostalgia and bits and pieces. I have actually filmed in there in the long distance past, but it would be great to get a walk round and have a look at all the nostalgia stuff, all the old cathode ray tube televisions and how the quarry working stuff and some bits of petrol pumps and old vehicles and all of that. Amberleigh Museum, fantastic. So they've been in touch, so I want to do that. And Matthew, as I said, going around Reigate. And that's my notes done, ladies, and that is the show. Thank you very much. And if Julia is watching, I think you left this youthful vitality. Yeah, maybe I'll keep that. I could do with a bit of youthful vitality, make myself look a bit younger. Anyway, so there we are, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go and see what you're chatting about before I disembark. Mark says it's Red Buttons, Ginger, he's dead. Red Buttons, Ginger, he's dead. Dan Thompson says Red Buttons never got a dinner. Never got a dinner? Todd Desbury says he was a comedian. Oh, he was. Alex says, think there was a Red Skelton too. There's a Red Skelton in my cupboard, I can tell you. All the volunteers are apparently over 80, says Paul Couchman. I don't know, is he talking about the beach festival or is he talking about the Regency thing? You can't remember what Red Skelton was. I guess he was another actor. LOL. Oops, says, yeah, that's obviously yours. Okay, thank you. Kevin Hall says, Richard, I have someone taking photos at the front of my place today. She said it's okay, I'm taking photos for Richard Vobes' group. I said, who? Where do you live then, Kevin? Do you live in an interesting house? You must live in something that somebody... Was it your good lady? Rub some on your head, says Dan Thompson. Oh, yes, for youthful... Here we go. I don't know what colour this is. There's a little squirt of it there, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it smells quite nice. It's I give them a bit of promotion. It's made by Dove. I'm going to put some on my nose. There we are. I would like a youthful nose, ladies and gentlemen. A youthful nose, which would do me some good. Anyway, I think we've come to the end of the show. We come to the end of the week. It's all... Oh, it's lovely. Oh, it's so nice. Oh, no. I could bathe in it. Bathe in it, ladies and gentlemen. Bathe! Bathe! Sorry, it's time for my injection again. It's been so nice to see you. Thank you so much. I think the weekend is beckoning. You've got things to do. I've got things to do. It's been lovely to be with you. Next week, I should tell you, I'm away for 2 days. Yes. Oh, I was going to mention that as well. I forgot. Just before you go. Don't quite go yet. I've got one more thing to mention. Very important, this. Very important. I don't know why I was messing about with all the other stuff. I've got one more thing to mention. So I'm not going to be here on Tuesday, but I may appear Tuesday night, but I don't know. I'll tell you why in a second. And then on Wednesday I won't be here because I've got another of these corporate jobs I have to do, try and pay some of the mortgage, bring some money in, otherwise I can't do this. And that's in Bristol. It's down there in Bristol, see, with a toilet like that. There in Bristol, know what I mean? It's the water, see, the water. They don't drink the water. Anyway, so I'm working in Bristol, but so I was looking for a hotel because they want me there at 8:30 in the morning early, and it's about a 3-hour journey from here. And I thought, I don't want to do a 3-hour journey first thing in the morning. No, and try and get there and have the hassle and all of that sort of thing. So I thought I'll try and book a hotel. So I looked on one of these late booking hotels. I wonder what that was. One of these late booking hotel things. Are we still broadcasting? I suddenly feel that we suddenly stopped halfway. Yeah, oh, maybe we are. And they're all like 70, 80 quid, to, you know. And normally what I do in these things, when I've got to be somewhere, is I drive up the night before, get there about 10, 11, go straight to bed, wake up, go and do the job. And then when you're paying 80 quid just to go and lie in a bed and use the shower, it does seem a bit expensive to me. Even though I can put it on the bill for the client, it still just seems a bit of a, you know, it's a bit, I mean, I know they've got to wash the sheets and all of that stuff, all of that. They've got to go in and, you know, they leave a woman lying on the bed for you when you arrive and all that sort of stuff. But, it's a bit of a sexist comment, isn't it? Well, sorry, it's old-fashioned humour. But I thought, well, that's a bit much. And then I looked on a map and I thought, well, maybe there's somewhere cheaper on the outside. And then I had this idea. The place that I'm staying with the lovely Julia, when we go to Glastonbury, is just outside. Well, it's fairly near Bristol, and it's an old mill. And I thought, so I got in touch with them and said, I don't suppose you've got a place for the Tuesday night, have you? And they came back to me and said, yes, we do, actually. I said, that's nice. How much is it? They said, well, you can have the tiny little box room for 40 quid. I said, well, that's perfect. I'm just going to sleep in there and go and do my job, you see. So I thought, well, I'll do that. And then I thought, wait, if I'm going to stay at the B&B, the guest house, this old mill that Julia and I are going to stay in a couple of weeks' time when we do our Glastonbury thing, and I've got to go there on the Tuesday, I thought, why don't I take the Tuesday off anyway and go down to Glastonbury and around and do a recce? Do a sort of... No, I won't be videoing. I'll just go... Because I've got to go there anyway, or near to Bristol. So I go a day early, have a little recce, work out all the stuff, so that when Julia and I've got a vague idea of where to go and what we can do, so we don't waste any time, and we can make those videos even better. Because I want to make the Glastonbury stuff really special for you. And I know Julia wants to make it special, and we're going to get together and do some research so we really know what we're talking about, and we can, make it as good. So that's the plan. So I'm going to go down there early, have a recce, have a rummage around Glastonbury and go up on the tour and just, maybe take some pictures and show you where I am. But the other important thing is at the mill where I'm staying, I will check out the Wi-Fi capabilities because I may be able to do a show with Julia when we're staying in our little rooms. When I've got my little room, I'll be able to sort of test it out. So I may appear on the Tuesday night. I'm waffling, I'm talking rubbish, I know, but that's... So next week, be there. But I will be back on Monday. Monday night is the next time that you will see the Vobes One-Eyed Kenobi. So I hope you have a fantastic weekend. But, when you hear this music, it means I've got to pack myself away. I've got to scrape this stuff off my face. It's very nice. So, ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic weekend, whatever you're up to. Look after yourselves. Don't drink too much. Don't eat too much. Don't have too many sugary drinks. Just take care and have fun. That's all I can... That's the only advice I can say. So thank you once again. Look after yourselves, and I will be back on Monday. Same time, same place. Until we talk again, thank you. It's been absolutely marvellous. But bye for now.